What kind of challenge has it presented this offseason, Robert not being able to work with the starters? Obviously, Kirk had a lot of experience last year, but has it been tough to coordinate for you when you don't know when he's coming back?
No, it's not. It's not tough to coordinate. I mean, you do the same stuff. You work everybody, no matter who's in there. Doesn't matter what quarterback's in there. We're really working the same plays and everything. And you do some plays more with one guy than the others, but you still work them with all of them. The thing that's frustrating is you know you're eventually going to play with them, and you like to work with them and practice with them, but you can't do that. So it's part of the injury, and you just got to wait and be patient and get ready when he comes back.
Who else? Over here. How much of a setback is it for Jordan Reed to not be out there?
Yeah, I don't know. You don't know how much of a setback it'll be. I mean, we haven't seen him out there yet, but I think any rookie who comes in, there's always a time where they got to get worse before they get better. You throw a lot at them, and they try to take it all in, and they usually struggle. And then by the time they come back to camp, you hope that they've been through it and they can start getting better. And when you miss all of OTAs as a rookie, it's you hope that he's really learning mentally and getting those reps, but putting his body through it for the first time will be in training camp. So you hope that learning curve will be fast, that the mistakes he makes will be, he will make some, and you just hope that he can learn from them. And if you got a guy who's got the right mind and they're working at it, you can overcome that, but it's definitely a challenge for him.
So much talk and focus since Robert got hurt about the offense and how much risk he can take. How different do you think the offense we'll see this year will be from what you ran last year?
I really can't answer that till I see the defenses we face. I mean, there's nothing that we're going to do that says, hey, we are going to do this or we're going to do that. The thing that's awesome about having a guy like Robert is Robert's capable of being great at anything. It doesn't matter whether it's dropping back, play pass, bootlegs, zone read, options. It really doesn't matter. He's capable of being great at all of it. And that's what's fun when you coach a guy like that you really don't have to force anything. We're going to do whatever the defense gives us. And if they give us that, we'll take it. If they take it away, I enjoy throwing the ball and doing other stuff too.
Kyle, would you have had to tweak the offense anyway just to stay ahead of the curve on the defenses? And if so, how much would you have had to?
Yeah, you do that. You do that every year. You do it week to week. You do it quarter to quarter. That's something you always got to stay ahead of. You'd like to anticipate those things, so you're prepared going into a game. But every once in a while, a defensive scheme will surprise you in the game, and you got to recognize it. And hopefully you have a plan in there to adjust and to counteract and call a play that does what they're doing. And if not, you got to discuss some stuff on the sidelines or get a better game plan the next week. But that's really the basis of my job, is trying to always anticipate that stuff and practice the players through all situations. So whatever the defense presents, we got something we can come at them with.
Kyle, when you went back and looked at Robert's runs, I guess, and I know some of them are him scrambling, getting out of pressure and all that, but for the design runs, were you pleased with how many were called? Did you think it was too many? Was it the right amount? What did you think of that?
Yeah, I was real pleased with it. I think I think it really helped us. I mean, it's about a third of our running game. At the most. The majority of our running game is outside zone, like it's been for, since I've been coaching, and I know it has been that before that in the Denver scheme with the zone blocking. But as far as the zone read and everything, it's opened up a lot, and those aren't really designed quarterback runs. They're designed to give the ball to Alf. And when the whole defense is not accounting for the quarterback and taking everyone else, that's when he goes the other way. And so I kind of enjoy the zone read, because quarterback's not taking it unless there's no one to hit him. If there is someone to hit him, you're usually handing it off. So the zone read is something I feel in the long run helps the quarterback.
Kyle, you say that you'll take what the defense gives you with Robert, but do you think the full scope of possibilities are still open, or do you have to take any steps at all as a play caller to sort of limit his exposure to injury risks?
When you think about last year, we got to get better at coaching certain things, and as I think we did throughout last year, and situations and how you can account for the free hitters when when you don't have a man for that player, and when the only guy who's not accounted for is a middle third safety about 30 yards away. I think we got better at that as the year went. The last game we struggled with that would be about Cincinnati, which I think was like week 4. But as far as that stuff, I think some of the zone read stuff is the least he got hit. It's the scrambles and stuff like that, where when guys aren't blocked and stuff, there's 7 guys in coverage who are coming at him from all directions, going airborne to hit somebody, and those are the times I really get worried.
Yeah. So Kyle, when you look at the zone read again, and some of Robert's decision making. In your mind, the zone read then is not flawed in terms of how it exposes Robert. It's more of his decision making and making sure everybody else is coached up.
No, I'm not saying that. I mean, you just look at all the zone read clips. I mean, not many big hits happened on that, because usually everyone's blocked for. You know who isn't blocked. And look at the big hits. Look at what plays they were. The 3 injuries were pass plays. They weren't the zone read. And the zone read's something that I learned throughout going through the year that I think really helped us. It's the least pass rush I've ever seen as a coordinator. I mean, guys just sitting there scared to death, just watching everybody not moving. And I really enjoyed actually sometimes being able to drop back and not have 4 guys just teeing off on the quarterback, all trying to hit him in the pocket.
You don't want to change some of this stuff.
No,
as long as you guys can execute it in a different way and Robert can make different decisions, that you can have the zone read, but he can still stay healthy.
Well, yeah, he stayed healthy last year running the zone read.
Right.
So I feel pretty good about that. You really hope no one gets hurt. It's hard to control injuries, and that's why you don't ever want to call quarterback power and stuff like that. See a lot of teams do it, but done it once, and I'll never do it again. Oh, tell defense coordinators I might do it, but that's something that I don't think that's that good of a play anyways. But when you do the zone read, I mean everyone's accounted for, and there's not many free hitters in it.
How have you, when you look at your own performances, how have you progressed, matured as a play caller, offensive coordinator, if you will, from when you first began to now? Kind of talk about that a little bit.
I think just obviously experience helps. I mean, the more years you have as a coordinator, the more situations you've been through, the more players you've. And the job of the coordinator isn't to reinvent the wheel. It's to try to figure out the best way to put these talented players in a situation that they can be successful. And you have different players each year. You have a different group of guys. You go against different coverages each year. Stuff that was good for me in Houston wasn't always good for me here. Sometimes it was, but it changed the next year. Sometimes it changes each week. Each year that I get, the more different things that I've learned trying with different players, doing stuff, the more it's made me more confident that if you got the right guys and you can teach them really every facet of how you can attack a defense, then I think a system's overrated. I mean, what is your system? I mean, we're going to attack the defense. You try to teach, everybody in the league runs pretty close to the same plays. It's just when you call those plays, how do you call those plays versus what coverages? And I don't plan on having an exact system the rest of my career. I plan on understanding football, understanding defenses, teaching our players all that, and let's see what they're going to do, and let's attack that hole in the defense, whatever it is.
Kyle, going back to Robert's decision making, the fact that there are pass plays, whether it was throwing the ball away, scrambling, when to get down, are those things that just in year 2 naturally he'll do better, that he has to make his own adjustments on, or is some of that things that you guys can help him with? Like, how will that next progressive step take place?
Yeah, I mean, I'm Robert's coach, so it's my job to help him with everything. And it's not just Robert. I think it's every quarterback who's ever played the game. I mean, guys got to get used to slide and knowing when to fight for yards, when not to fight for yards. I think it's harder for guys their rookie years because the speed of the game's a lot different, where you used to have a little more time to slide. Now people get up on you a little quick, and when someone gets up on you quick and you slide at the last second, that's when you get hit under the chin and stuff. So, you got to slide early and anticipate things. And it's not just Robert, it's all quarterbacks. I think a lot of rookie quarterbacks takes time to get that feel, and they learn through experience. And I think Robert had a lot of experience last year, and I think he'll definitely be better from that. And we'll keep harping on it, and I think it'll come natural for him.
Did he dislike throwing the ball away more than young guys, Coach?
I don't know about that. I think it's with Robert, he's so confident that he doesn't have to. I mean, I don't think he had to in college very much. Whoever that guy was there, he would just outrun him, or he would make a miss. So, some guys, most of the other quarterbacks on the roster have probably been throwing the ball away since high school. They weren't going to outrun that guy. All right, but Robert's outrun that guy his whole life, and now all of a sudden, that guy got me, had a better angle on me. Now you got to learn, what do I do in this? Well, some guys have been doing it since 8th grade. Robert's just starting to do it, and I think it'll get easier for him with reps.
Kyle, the pistol formation just by itself, not necessarily the zone read, is it fair to say that you can sell more and do different things via different looks out of the pistol versus, per se, the true shotgun or more under center? Does that give you more versatility in terms of disguising what you want to do?
Yeah, that's the whole key to the pistol. I mean, I laugh when people talk about the pistol offense because you can run the zone read out of the pistol. So it gives you the threat to run the zone read. But the good thing about the pistol is it's the exact same as your entire offense. The quarterback is taking about 3 steps back behind the center. So instead of reaching his hands under the center, he's just reaching out to catch the ball. But the back's still behind the quarterback, so you can run your entire offense, nothing changes. And I think that's the key to everything. I mean, the zone read's a good play, but if defenses know it's coming, I don't care how good it is, people will stop it. And the whole key to the zone read is that just the threat of the zone read. We want to run our offense. We want to do what we've been doing, but you better honor the zone read because it is a good play. And if you're not honoring it, you're usually going to get about 15 yards before contact.
Yeah, it looks like you're going to go into the year with the same offensive line for the second year in a row. How important is continuity to that unit, as compared to, anywhere else in the field? Is that really important for them to be working together for, 1,000 snaps, 1,500 snaps, 2,000 snaps?
Yeah, I think that's everything. I mean, you obviously want real talented guys, and the more talented, the better. But when you can have 5 guys work together, especially at that group, I mean, they're all moving together. They're adjusting to stunts. They're blocking combinations together. And then when people move, 5 people got to adjust together. And when we have our guys in there, we have been our best. Even 2 years ago, I think we started out the year, I don't remember what we were, but I think we were top 5 in rushing. Then we lost a couple of linemen, and we had to move some guys around. And we went about 5 games there where we were the worst. This year we kept them all healthy the whole year. I feel like we did exactly what we did 2 years ago in the first month of the season, but the guys stayed healthy. Our back did a hell of a job, and you guys saw the results.
You guys won your last 7 games, put up big numbers last year, but you didn't have Fred for more than half the season, and Pierre is playing either hurt or not at all. How much better do you think you guys can be with those 2, and what do you expect from them this year?
I expect a lot. I mean, those are 2 of our better players. I was real proud of the guys who, our tight ends who stepped in place of Fred and really stepped it up. And they were always good role players for us, and we threw them into starting roles, and I don't think we missed a beat. I mean, there's things that one guy does better than the other, but when it's all said and done and at the end of the game, I mean, those tight ends really helped us win a lot of those games. And they're one of the main reasons I think we did as well as we did in the run game. And when we called their number in the pass game, they didn't disappoint us. Oh, Pierre was huge. I mean, you guys saw how different it was when Pierre got out there in the second half of the year. Whether Pierre was getting the ball or not, just the threat of having him out there opens up a lot of stuff. And when you have a guy like that, a true number 1 wide receiver, it makes all your other wide receivers better. And when you have a true number 1 wide receiver with other receivers who can hurt you, then it's, again, tough to worry about a tight end. So when you got a bunch of guys out there that are really players, it opens up everything. Whether they're getting the ball or not, it helps in every way possible.
Kyle, when you look back at Alfred's success last year, how much of that was tied to Griffin's threat to run as well?
I think a lot of it is huge. I mean, any time that the threat of Robert running was, to me, the thing that I enjoyed the most throughout the year. I go crazy thinking about blitzes every week, how we're going to pick all this stuff up, and about halfway through the year, I'm starting to realize we're not getting any of these blitzes that I used to see. It takes a lot of stuff you used to worry about you don't get. The threat of a quarterback running makes defenses play sound. It makes them play 11 on 11 as opposed to 11 on 10 like they've been doing my whole career that I've seen. And so just the threat of a quarterback who can run, especially in the running game with the zone read and everything, whether that's working or not, just the threat of it opens up everything else.
Kind of playing off that with Alfred, though, do you think that there's some things people might miss about him because they just kind of credit a lot of his success to the zone read? I mean, what do people miss about his rookie year and what he can do as a runner?
Yeah, people who say that just don't watch tape. They just read stats, I guess. I mean, just watch Alfred. Alfred's a beast. I think one guy, about 3 guys all year tackled him on the first tackle. And that guy runs as hard as anyone I've ever seen. Most of his yards came on outside zone, not the zone read. So Alfred is as good of a back as I've ever had, and he's the real deal.
Speaking to Alfred, as much as you guys want to incorporate him, you're able to draft a running back, you get Roy back. If you're looking to just kind of spell him with someone, is it important when you look back over the years to differentiate in the backfield with someone who's very different than the guy they're spelling? Can they be the same guy? How would a timeshare even work?
Yeah, my main thing is, there's no absolutes in anything. I mean, there's some ideal situations you would like. My main thing is if Alf's not in there, I want the best running back who's not Alf in there. I don't care whether he doesn't have to be his exact opposite. I mean, just because Alf's a guy who runs hard and stuff doesn't mean that we got to go get a guy who's just fast and different than him. I want the best back I want the second best back end who's not out if we're running the ball. You know, you can get some guys who can isolate maybe in the pass game a little different and use them a little differently. But when you're spelling a guy, you want a guy who comes in and moves the chains and does the exact same things he does, and we can keep those same yards per carry and stay on the field.
Well, just actually to Leonard and Josh at receiver, for different reasons, could be candidates to have bigger years. Leonard entering year 3 and Josh fully healthy. You just speak to both of them, what you've seen.
Yeah, I've been real impressed with both of those guys. I think Josh battled through injuries all last year. You know, he got hurt the year before we got him at San Francisco, had some screws in his ankle. He got those screws taken out in January. I think he had a surgery on his wrist. I want to say he had like 3 surgeries, but he played all year hurt for us. He's a tough guy, so he's able to battle through it. But I think it's showing out in OTAs. He's feeling healthier. He's cutting better. He doesn't have to think as much. I think he's got a better feel for the offense, and I think we'll see a lot better from Josh this year. And Hank's just working every day too. He's trying to step it up. Hank's been as good as anyone at times, and sometimes he has his little bad moments, and he's been very consistent through OTAs, and I think Hank can be as good as he wants to be.
Take a few more.
Kyle, when you look at the backup offensive linemen now behind the starting 5 that have sort of established themselves, is there anybody that you see sort of separating themselves at this point, and how do you assess the depth that you guys have built?
I mean, no one in particular. Right now, OTAs is, a lot of our backup guys, we've had Larebus and Mo Hurt who haven't been practicing. They've had some injuries out there, so they haven't been out there throughout OTAs. And then the younger guys coming in, OTAs to me more for those guys is learning for our 10 OTA practices so they have a chance to compete in training camp. I don't try to judge new guys too much right now. They're at a disadvantage. They're moving slower because their mind's thinking a lot more than the veterans. But you hope you can put them through it in OTAs and everything to where they learn it enough, they go through those reps. So when training camp comes and we got some more pads on, we can hit a little bit more. We're going to some preseason games. These guys have a chance to compete and aren't just thinking all the time.
What did you see out of Dante Stallworth the last 2 days that he's been here?
He looked like the same guy I remembered. And he's a very good football player. I love Dante.
Do you feel like he's a guy that can help you?
Yeah, definitely. Dante helped us a lot 2 years ago. I would have loved to bring him back last year too to come compete for a roster spot. He ended up signing with New England. We saw him was available, and I don't know if we signed him yet or not. I hope we do.
What went into the decision to bring Pat White in to give him the look that he's gotten, and what have you seen from him?
Well, we needed to get another quarterback, and we studied the guys in the draft and stuff, and we needed to add another quarterback for the roster. And the one thing about Pat was just me reading that he was trying to come back in the league. I really liked Pat coming out of college, and I really liked him as a quarterback. He when I was at Houston, I evaluated him. I had a high grade on him, and he was a guy I was always interested in. I know it didn't work out for him in Miami. I went back and watched the tape and stuff and the few plays that he had, and I didn't see any reason why. A lot of people had him rated high coming out of college, and I didn't see enough in his first year that would make you think that the guy was done. He got thrown in some situations where he almost was treated more like a wildcat quarterback, but Pat's definitely a quarterback. He's not a wildcat quarterback, and I think Pat could play, and I was just excited to. It was somebody I would have hoped to have about 5 years ago, and just to see him now, and he's come in, and he's the same guy that I thought he was going to be coming out of college. So Pat's got a lot of upside, and it's always hard when you've been away from the game for a while, but he's working as hard as anyone, and I think he's gotten better each practice.
Last time, with Kirk, obviously he's made tremendous improvements from year 1 to year 2. What have you noticed in terms of his ability to communicate with his teammates? He seems like he's having a lot more fun, more confidence, a little more bravado out there. And does that translate, I guess, if he has to run the huddle in the regular season, and is that what you ideally want at him?
Yeah, definitely. Kirk's a very good leader. It comes pretty natural for him. He's very A-type personality. When he's in there, he's about his business, and he can push that tempo fast. He calls the plays well. He gets along with everybody, but and also he jokes around a lot too. Guys laugh at him. He's always himself. He's not going to change for anybody, and I think guys really enjoy being around him.